Have you ever stopped to think about your perfect day? Welcome to ACE. This is a show about your power to make things happen. I'm your host, Darren, and if you're like me, you don't quite fit in a traditional career, and you've set out on your own path. What you are seeking is thrilling and fulfilling work. Work that is creative, that has a positive impact, that brings financial independence. I quit my last job in 2011. And I've spent the past 8 years freelancing, starting my own business, and managing the challenges of being self-employed. A big part of that has been navigating the gray and figuring out my own principles and values, not what society says, not what mom and dad say, what gurus say, but what your heart and mind say. Here's a story. 2 years ago in 2017, I made the most money that I ever had made in 1 year. I did it working less than 2 days a week in Vietnam, a country I love. Yet, I never felt so lost and unhappy. Why? I realized that popular markers of success in my group of friends, in the life I had chosen to live, such as money, mobility, and freedom of time, didn't necessarily translate into happiness for me, or I guess you could call it fulfillment. Of course, I want more money. I want more freedom to move around, more freedom of time, but maybe these weren't the ultimate goals I should set for myself. And as I looked at my Kindle books, I read a ton. I realized that 90% of my Kindle books were written by white guys from Western societies. And these books had truly changed my life and are some of, my favorite possessions. Nevertheless, it was a pretty similar worldview, I'd say. And in the peak of my disillusionment, I kind of just wanted to throw it aside and say, what really matters? I've achieved so much of what I wanted to, yet I'm so unfulfilled. Why is that? And I just had this harebrained idea to just ask people about their perfect day. We idolize the rich, the famous, the powerful. But maybe the average person on the street has just as much to say about what the good life is. It was, I'd say, maybe a stupid idea, maybe an idealistic idea, but nevertheless, I felt compelled to do it. I can't explain why. So I started asking, friends and strangers about their perfect day. If I felt that they were in the mood to talk about it, I just pull out my phone and ask them. And that's why some of the audio you hear isn't perfect. What was more important for me was an authenticity of their response, that they were really sharing their perfect day. So sometimes bringing out a microphone does not help that. I think I was hoping for wildly different answers, wildly different ideas about the good life, about what makes someone's day perfect. And I made it a point to interview young people, old people, men, women, Vietnamese, Americans, didn't matter, strangers. And what was really interesting was after doing about 30 of these interviews, I realized that 4 elements were popping up again and again. And I wanted to share these elements with you. And as we go through these 4 elements, I hope you ask yourself, what is your perfect day? What I've learned from interviewing all these people and from my own personal reflections is that if my day is not going well, if I feel it was wasted, if I feel down about it, I've learned to reflect upon the day and my life through the lens of these 4 elements. And I find it really helpful. The first theme that kept reappearing was connection. And the reason I bring this up first was because over 70% of the people I interviewed mentioned that spending time with close friends, loved ones, and interesting people mattered to them. I'll start with probably my favorite interview from this entire series, which was with Sparky, a young Vietnamese waiter working at a restaurant close to my house. He got his name because he used to like spaghetti as a kid. So spaghetti became Sparky.
Yeah, I go fishing in the morning for the whole morning.
Yeah.
And when I catch something, I just go back to my grandma and say, hey, have some fish. We have food today. Because at that time, my family is very poor. Yeah, so I have to live far away from my parents and to live with my grandma.
Yes.
Yeah, we try to grow, we raise vegetable, chicken, everything we can to have food for every day. And for me, a perfect day that when I catch some fish to bring back to my grandma. This is my brow, you know?
Yes.
When I can to make something for my own.
Isli, a copywriter from Singapore, and JJ, a science teacher from Ireland, also mentioned connection as being very important to their perfect days.
I would maybe like call up some friends or family, go meet them, have some real like heart-to-heart conversations.
What's perfect day reading?
Perfect day reading, maybe about like relationships or like it's all about connection, improving connection. I think that's what like makes me happy and fulfills me. Yeah, so it would just be like having a revelation about, this is how I can have more harmony, like what we're talking in my life. A little bit of that, doesn't have to be too heavy. And then maybe a glass of alcohol.
I would like to have maybe written a song. I would have liked to have nice coffee in the morning. I would have liked to have woken up beside something special. A massage would be pretty good. It's definitely a nice dinner with people I know, maybe gathered around friends, and a couple of beers also with friends, and maybe finish with a walk on the beach, maybe splashing in the sea, all romantic and shit.
The second theme that reappeared frequently was autonomy. And what I mean by autonomy was that over 60% of the people I interviewed wanted control over their perfect day. There would be no externally imposed demands on them. In fact, my mom probably put it best.
A perfect day is total relax and do whatever I want, whenever I want, and spend whatever I want, and be with whoever I want.
I also want to share how Shan, a radio DJ in Singapore, described autonomy, as well as Rebecca, who's a working mother, and Lynn, a high school student, both in Vietnam, how they talked about this feeling of being free from externally imposed demands. I guess you could describe autonomy as undisturbed, unrushed me time to do whatever you want.
In the afternoon, let's do something for myself. I read a bit of a book, do some Sudoku, do a crossword.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah.
You would spend time on your perfect day doing a crossword puzzle.
Or Sudoku, which might be sadder.
I was trying to think of what things like I enjoy doing, and like chilling back on my sofa doing a crossword or Sudoku is one of those things. Then
That's fascinating.
when it comes to like sundown kind of time, I'd like to go to our nearby park and kick the ball around with the boys. I really like doing that.
Why?
Because we're both with my older boy, and the younger one to an extent. I mean, he likes playing football. I like playing football. It's something that you sort of connect on. And it's just a nice time of day in Singapore. It's not too hot. Then after that, how about I get to play guitar and drink cider. By myself, actually.
Cider.
I really enjoy it.
Alcoholic cider? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I'm about to go out for a night out, my favorite part is to like drink at home and play guitar. And I don't even need to go out. Yeah. And I'd finish the day by playing Candy Crush.
Oh. Yes. In bed.
Yeah. So these are things that when I think about it, I really enjoy. I find it relaxing, I suppose.
Yeah.
To chill back on the sofa, do a crossword, or do Candy Crush. That's my day.
You know what it all is? I'm not even going to go through step by step. My perfect day is just free form, not feeling rushed at any point, and just being free to kind of go and like, there's someone I haven't seen in a while, there's something I haven't done, there's free time that I haven't had, and so it's, I read that book, I paint that picture, I listen to that thing, I finish that project, whatever it is, I take my time to do it.
Lying on the bed with my computer and my favorite movies and watching it, or my favorite book, and letting myself completely out of the stress, and just lying in, enjoy my time. And no disturbance from the outside.
The third element that many people mentioned was what I call progress. So over 40% of the people I spoke to wanted to feel like they had achieved something. This would give them a sense of deep satisfaction. So this could come from getting better at something, doing what they love, or getting important things done. And what's interesting about this theme is that the participants might not necessarily enjoy it. So I'm going to start with how Manuel, a project manager from Germany who's currently in Kenya, how he describes this idea of progress, as well as Jimmy, who's a salsa instructor.
So basically I would get up early, I get shit done.
What's shit?
Gym, dancing class, and work. And then I say, I feel so good now, I did so well, so much, and then I sit down with Darren and drink some beer and go to vertical.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just drink alone and then go.
Yeah.
I love and hate it at the same time. I now I came out of the flight, red eye flight, and I go into the gym. I didn't like that so much, but I felt good afterwards.
You felt good afterwards.
Yeah. It gave me my fix.
Your fix.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good.
Yeah. I feel terrible if I can't work out for a long time.
Right.
I live my perfect day almost every day. Yeah. It just gets even more perfect. Like right now, like this is all like icing. My core, my core is smoking a fat joint and practicing dancing for hours.
How many hours are we talking?
4 hours,
Does it matter?
4 hours.
Do you set a limit, or you saying?
No, the time doesn't matter, but it usually is like I look at the watch and I'm like, the point where I'm like totally satisfied is around like 3-4 hours, 4 hours, and then I know like, I feel good. Yeah, consistency. I do this every day for years now, so I just it's an observation. About 4 hours is my good okay, I've done my work for the day. That's good. It's definitely a part of my regimen of antidepressant, self-medication. Yeah, I gotta do it. If I don't, I get depressed.
So how can you know if you've made progress in your day or gotten your shit done, so to speak? I met Maud traveling through Vietnam. She's a French teacher in Cambodia, and she described it quite interestingly. Feeling a good tired at the end of the day. And Jenny, who's a data consultant, explained it similarly.
My perfect day, when I come back home, I feel very tired, but for a good feeling tired, and I'm happy that the day was spent the way it was spent.
Yeah. And so what is that what's a bad tired feeling as opposed to a good tired?
It's like when you're exhausted. When you're exhausted, that's bad tired, and you have enough, and you just want the day to end, and you feel like you have to sleep to start a new day. But when you're good tired, then you can feel in your body your body needs some rest. Yeah. But it's a good rest.
Yeah. At the end of your perfect day, what would it feel like?
If I did my day right, I'd have a highball or a beer in my hand, watching something fun or interesting or stupid. I love trashy things, and I love Dr. Phil, as I've mentioned before. And I would not be bothered. If I didn't finish my shit, I'd feel a little bit guilty.
There it is. Yeah.
So it's almost like, okay.
Right.
I can shut down completely and turn my brain off. Candle music. Dumb television, and I'm not guilty, and I feel like, yep, I did my work.
The fourth and final element that many people mentioned was having a peaceful state of mind. So close to 70% wanted this state of mind. You could call it a flow state. You could call it completely forgetting yourself, as Shane, an actor, describes it. Or this could simply be not thinking about anything, as Tao describes it, who's a marketing executive in Vietnam.
So my perfect day is actually very similar, because I was going to mention the flow state. Like a lot of the things I do all center around getting into that state. So the things that need to be like in no order but within my day are, I'd like to do, that has to be some physical activity like a sport. And normally it's like jiu-jitsu, but lately it's been many different things like boxing or gymnastics.
Yeah,
because it actually puts me, I feel, in that state where I forget about myself. So everything I like to do is about forgetting I exist, sort of. If I can forget I am me, that's the best time of day.
So why do you think that is?
I don't know, because I think...
Is it just like peaceful when you forget about yourself? Or
yeah, and
what does that feel?
When I forget that I exist, I feel like I'm my best self. So there's stuff I know I'm bad at, and then I'm very conscious of myself and, you know, who I am and what I'm doing wrong. But when I'm doing something that, like, so work, but maybe only 3 or 4 hours of work. Like, if it's too long, I hate work. But 3 or 4 hours of work, say it's rehearsals or whatever, I like that, because then I'm kind of working in my head, I'm trying really hard, and I forget I'm there. And then...
Wait, explain to us what you do for work.
Oh, so I act on stage and stuff. And sometimes it's the most self-conscious thing in the world. And that sucks. You're on stage and all you can see is like, oh, this is terrible. But sometimes when it goes really well, you're just like, oh, 3 hours is up, I'm done. Like, those rehearsals flew by, that performance flew by, that was great. And I really like those times. And like, so the sport that I do, the work that I do, and then those put me in that state, or hopefully put me in that state. And then I love spending time with my kids, but oftentimes it is also hard work. So oftentimes I'm not in the flow state when I'm spending time with my kids, but then that's in there. Like, I want to wake up cuddling one of my kids. Yeah.
For me right now, I need really need a holiday. When either alone or with someone, but to a place which not a noisy or entertainment place. Every day waking up, don't think of anything else. Just go and think of don't think of anything. Just relax and do meditation or do physical fitness. My day now, the perfect day is not having anything to think of.
This peaceful state of mind could also mean having a clear mind absent of frustration and anxiety. Howard and Chung are two of my friends. Both are restaurateurs, one in Singapore, one here in Vietnam. And what's interesting is that they both felt that this state of mind is often out of their control, but it's something that would be a part of their perfect day.
I think a day where I can go to sleep without feeling incredible pressure from whether it's the business or from family matters would be really quite wonderful.
But when was the last time you had a day like that? I mean, you've been doing your own business now for many years.
Yeah. And I think this year, though, has been particularly stressful. So I am looking forward to hopefully things getting smoother next year. And I think just something as simple as that, where you're not always worried about the future, would be perfect enough.
My perfect day means, like, if I have no issues at work, I have no issues in personal life, that's a perfect day. Something easy, Just whatever I do, it just goes smoothly. That's it.
So is it like a state of mind or actual actions?
A perfect day would be you wake up, it's the sunlight, it's freezing out there. So that's a perfect day. You drive through, it's not too hot. Get to work, your mind is sober. It's very clear. And then whatever you do, that's it. It goes well. It's not about like, I got this or that thing came through. No. Perfect day would be just like very simple state of mind.
How do you get to that state of mind? Is there a way you get there, or is it?
No, it's just lucky, man. It's just lucky. No, that's just pure luck because you wake up differently every day. Your mood is different. Your mood pretty much defines the rest of your day.
Yeah.
You can wake up right.
Yeah.
And then you can get that vibe, you know.
This survey is far from scientific, and maybe I can ask better questions. Still, I was shocked to see these 4 elements appear again and again, no matter the age, sex, and nationality of my interviewees. So I started researching theories of human needs, and I came across Edward Deci's and Richard Ryan's self-determination theory, or SDT. And this theory, developed over 40 years and backed by hundreds of studies, posits that humans have an innate psychological need to be autonomous, self-determined, and connected to one another. And when I heard those 3 things, that really resonated with what I had found in my little personal survey, just done in a random spot in the world in Vietnam. People wanted autonomy. They wanted a sense of willingness, volition, and choice. They wanted relatedness, to feel cared for by others, to care for others, to feel like they belong in various groups that are important to them. And they wanted competence, to feel confident and effective in relation to what they're doing. And most importantly, the self-determination theory says that when these needs of autonomy, relatedness, and competence are satisfied, we're very motivated, we're very productive, and happy. And when these needs are thwarted, our motivation, performance, and wellness plummet. So this was quite a shock for me to realize how related my findings were to this theory about motivation that had been developed for over 40 years. And my takeaways are, perfect days are really mostly within our grasp. I mean, only one interviewee actually mentioned taking hardcore drugs and going to a music festival. I actually thought more people would say stuff like that, or, having a ridiculous vacation somewhere exotic. But no, actually most people mention very basic, banal things that are accessible to all of us. Being with close friends, getting better at something, controlling their time, having a peaceful state of mind. So what I've concluded from this study, and also reflecting on my day and why I would rank a day better or worse than another, is that these elements are really important to feel motivated, to feel happy about where I am in my life. So how can we design our day to have more of these 4 elements? I think that's one question I had. And to sum it all up, if something feels off, or I feel down or unsatisfied, I've learned to reflect on my day with these 3 questions. Are you getting better at something you value or enjoy? Are you spending time with close friends and loved ones? And are you making time for people, places, things, and activities that give you a peaceful state of mind or help you enter that peaceful state of mind? 3 very simple questions that could make a huge difference. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I look forward to bringing on some amazing thought leaders who have figured out how to build careers that are fulfilling creatively, socially, and financially on the show. And I can't wait to learn from them and learn alongside you. So we'll see you next Thursday on ACE. Did you like that episode? Press subscribe, leave a review, and tell your friends about us. Yeah, if you want to join the conversation, you want to talk more about this episode, go head over to upstartist.tv/ACE. That's ASE.